You know that saying, family is forever? Yeah. I used to believe that too. But now I think it should come with a warning label, only if you meet their expectations. My name's Rachel. I was the golden child once. The straight A student, the responsible daughter, the one my parents boasted about at parties. But I learned the hard way that all of that can disappear the moment you stop playing by their rules. This is the story of how I was cut off from my family just because I fell in love with the wrong man, and how, years later, they came crawling back when the tables turned. Let me take you back to where it all began. I grew up in a suburban neighborhood that looked straight out of a catalog. My parents, Richard and Susan, were the typical upper-middle-class couple. Dad was a lawyer, Mom ran a successful real estate business, and I was their pride and joy. At least, that's what they told everyone. From kindergarten through college, I was everything they expected me to be: honor roll student, debate team champion, volunteer, and eventually, a business major at one of the top universities in the country. I thought their approval was unconditional. But I learned otherwise the year I met Eli. I met Eli during my junior year. He was working part-time as a campus security guard while studying computer science at a smaller, local college. I was instantly drawn to him, not just because he was charming and ridiculously handsome, but because he was kind, gentle, grounded. He made me laugh in a way no one else had. He listened when I talked, not to respond or fix, but to understand. And he never once treated me like a project or a trophy. But he didn't come from money. His dad worked in a car repair shop. His mom was a school librarian. He paid for his tuition with scholarships and worked nights to support himself. Naturally, my parents hated him. The first time I brought Eli home for Thanksgiving, the judgment was immediate. My mom made comments about his wrinkled shirt and cheap shoes. My dad asked him invasive questions about his job prospects and whether he planned to mooch off Rachel forever. I was mortified. After that disaster, my parents sat me down and gave me an ultimatum. "You're throwing away your future," my dad said. "You deserve someone who matches your ambition," my mom added. Translation: he's not rich, so he's not worthy. When I refused to break up with Eli, they cut me off. Financially, emotionally, everything. Just like that. My college tuition? Gone. My apartment rent? Gone. They told me I could learn the hard way. And so I did. I moved in with Eli into his tiny studio apartment. It wasn't glamorous, we had secondhand furniture, we ate a lot of ramen, and we both worked double shifts just to make rent. I picked up jobs wherever I could, waitressing, tutoring, even doing freelance editing late at night. But despite how hard it was, I was happy. We laughed more in that shoebox apartment than I ever had in my parents' mansion. We celebrated small victories, paying off a bill early, finding a $10 microwave on Craigslist like it was a miracle. We got married 2 years later, in a park, wearing clothes we thrifted. No family showed up. Not even a card. I cried that night, not because I regretted my choice, but because I finally accepted I had lost them. While Eli continued to work in tech, I decided to turn my editing side hustle into something real. I launched a tiny content agency from our apartment. It was slow at first, just a few clients, most of whom underpaid me or ghosted me completely. But I kept learning. I studied SEO, marketing, branding, all of it. Eli believed in me the whole time. He even built me a website, helped me automate my systems, and when he got promoted at his job, he poured part of his income into helping me scale. Fast forward 5 years, I had 20 employees, a 6-figure client base, and a growing reputation in the digital marketing world. Eli, meanwhile, had started his own software company that exploded after one of his apps went viral. We went from scraping for gas money to owning 2 homes, taking vacations, and investing in other startups. We had everything. Except family. Last Christmas, I got a card in the mail with handwriting I hadn't seen in years. My mom. "We're so proud of everything you've accomplished. Let's reconnect soon. Love, Mom and Dad. I stared at the card for a long time. I didn't cry. I didn't feel warmth or relief. I just felt numb. A week later, I got a call from my cousin Emily. Apparently, my parents were having financial troubles. My dad's firm laid him off. Mom's real estate business took a nosedive during the market crash. They were close to losing their house. And suddenly, I was valuable again. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet them. We chose a cafe halfway between our cities. I brought Eli with me. The moment we walked in, my mom gasped and gave me a hug like we hadn't been estranged for nearly a decade. My dad was more reserved, but he tried to smile. What followed was the most awkward 2 hours of my life. They pretended the past didn't happen. Asked questions about our businesses, complimented our watches and clothes, even hinted at how impressive it was that we'd done it without much help. Then came the bombshell. We were wondering, my mom said sweetly, if you two might be able to help us out, just until we get back on our feet. Eli's jaw clenched. I felt my stomach twist. I took a long sip of my coffee, looked my parents dead in the eyes, and said, "You abandoned me when I needed you most. You didn't care if I had food to eat or a place to sleep because you didn't approve of who I loved. And now that I'm successful, now you want to come back?" They stammered. My dad muttered something about being worried and doing what was best. My mom got teary-eyed and said they made mistakes. But I didn't budge. Eli believed in me when no one else did. He supported me when you wouldn't. We built this life together. And I won't reward the people who only see me as valuable when I have money. We left. It's been months since that conversation. They tried calling a few times, left voicemails, even sent emails. I haven't responded. Some people think I'm cold. That I should forgive them. But forgiveness doesn't mean inviting people back into your life just because they're uncomfortable. Eli and I are doing better than ever. We just bought a beach house. We adopted a rescue dog. We've started mentoring young couples who want to start businesses together. And most importantly, I've found peace. To anyone out there struggling with family rejection, your worth isn't determined by their approval. You can build a life, a beautiful life, without people who only love you conditionally. I lost my family the day I chose love over wealth. But I gained a partner, a purpose, and a life that's truly mine. And honestly, I wouldn't change a thing.